What happens when two of television's most outspoken women find themselves on opposite sides of a conversation that spirals completely out of control? The answer is messier, more uncomfortable, and far more explosive than anyone could have predicted. Kelly Clarkson, America's sweetheart, known for her warmth, humor, and relatability, faced off against Joy Behar, one of daytime TV's sharpest tongues and most unapologetically opinionated voices. What was supposed to be a friendly interview on the Kelly Clarkson Show quickly turned into one of the most shocking confrontations daytime television has ever seen. The setup was innocent enough. Joy was scheduled to appear as a guest, promoting her latest book. The producers expected some witty banter, a few playful jokes, and maybe a heartfelt moment or two. That's what happens on Kelly's show. It's light, uplifting, and never controversial. But that day, the mood in the studio felt off. Even before the first question was asked, the air was charged with something no one could quite name: a tension, pride, maybe a clash of philosophies waiting to erupt. Kelly greeted Joy with her trademark enthusiasm, arms open for a hug and a big smile plastered across her face. "You look amazing, Joy." "Love the outfit," she said brightly. But Joy's response was restrained, a polite smile, tight, controlled, the kind that doesn't quite reach the eyes. She thanked Kelly and took her seat, crossing one leg over the other as the audience applauded. Kelly, ever the professional, launched into her first question, asking about Joy's book and what inspired her to write it. Joy answered smoothly, giving the usual polished response, talking points that sounded rehearsed but professional. Everything seemed fine. But then, Kelly, in her friendly, teasing way, made an offhand comment that would change the entire tone of the interview. "You always have such strong opinions about everything, Joy. I imagine dinner parties at your house must be wild," Kelly said with a laugh. It was a light-hearted joke, or so she thought. Joy smiled, but it was sharp. "Well, Kelly," she began, her tone shifting ever so slightly, "I think having opinions is important, especially when you have a platform. Some people use their platforms to say something meaningful. Others just sing and smile and hope everyone likes them." The audience chuckled awkwardly, unsure if they were supposed to laugh or stay quiet. Kelly's smile faltered for half a second before she caught herself and replied, keeping her tone upbeat, "I mean, I'd like to think I do a little bit of both. I talk about things that matter to me, mental health, body positivity, supporting other women." Joy leaned back, eyes narrowing slightly. "Sure, safe topics, things everyone can agree on. But what about the hard stuff, Kelly? What about politics, policy, other things that actually affect people's lives?" There was a subtle but distinct shift in the energy of the room. Kelly straightened in her chair. "I talk about what I know and what feels authentic to me," she said calmly. "I don't think there's anything wrong with that." "Nothing wrong with it," Joy replied with a shrug. "But there's nothing particularly brave about it either." The silence that followed was thick. Even the band members exchanged uncertain glances. Kelly took a slow breath, clearly deciding whether to let it go or address it head-on. When she spoke again, her voice was firm but still polite. "Joy, I've been very open about my struggles, my divorce, raising kids in the public eye, dealing with mental health. I've shared some of the most painful parts of my life because I thought it might help someone else. I don't think that's not brave." Joy waved a dismissive hand. "Personal stuff? Everyone has personal stuff. I'm talking about taking a stand, using your voice when it might actually cost you something. When was the last time you said something that made half your audience uncomfortable?" Kelly blinked, her jaw tightening slightly. "I'm not trying to make people uncomfortable. I'm trying to create a space where people feel seen, heard, and maybe a little lighter when they start their day." "How noble," Joy said, her voice dripping with sarcasm. Meanwhile, the world is burning and Kelly Clarkson is over here doing feel-good segments about rescue dogs and cake recipes. This time, Kelly's composure cracked. Her eyes flashed. "You know what, Joy? Not everything has to be a battle. Not every conversation has to be a debate. Some of us think there's value in giving people a break from all the negativity." "A break?" Joy repeated, shaking her head. "That's a luxury, Kelly, that's a privilege. Some people don't get to take a break from reality just because it's unpleasant. Kelly leaned forward, her voice rising slightly. Don't you dare lecture me about privilege. You sit on a show every day where you get to pontificate about whatever you want, to whoever will listen. Half the time you're just stirring the pot for ratings. At least I'm trying to help people instead of making them more angry and divided. The audience gasped. This was no longer subtle tension, this was a full-blown confrontation. Joy's face flushed. Stirring the pot? She repeated sharply. I'm informing people, Kelly. I'm holding people accountable. I'm not afraid to call out hypocrisy. That's called journalism, not entertainment. Kelly didn't hesitate. You're on a talk show, Joy, not 60 Minutes. Let's be honest. You're not some crusader for truth. You have opinions, and anyone who disagrees with you is an idiot in your eyes. That's not journalism, that's ego. Joy stood abruptly. The audience held its breath, expecting her to walk off. But instead, she pointed a finger at Kelly. You want to know what ego is? Ego is thinking you can stay neutral on everything and still be adored. Ego is believing your little bubble of positivity matters more than engaging with the real world. Kelly rose too, matching Joy's energy. My so-called bubble has helped millions of people feel less alone. What have you done except make people feel like they have to pick a side or they're part of the problem? Maybe they are part of the problem, Joy snapped back. Silence is complicity, Kelly. If you're not speaking out, you're enabling. That's garbage. Telly fired. You don't get to dictate how everyone uses their voice. I'm tired of people like you acting like anyone who doesn't perform their values the exact way you want them to is somehow morally inferior. People like me? Joyce scoffed. You mean people who actually care about something other than selling records and booking celebrity guests? Kelly's face turned red. Get off my stage. The words hung in the air like thunder. The studio went dead silent. The audience stared. The crew froze. Even Joy looked momentarily stunned. Excuse me? Joy said slowly. You heard me, Kelly replied, her tone firm. This is my show, and I'm not going to stand here and let you insult me and everything I've built. You came here as a guest, and all you've done is attack me. Joy's lips tightened, disbelief flashing across her face. So you're really kicking me off because I challenged you? Because I didn't play along with your curated image? Kelly crossed her arms. I'm asking you to leave because you came here to belittle me. You could have disagreed respectfully. Instead, you chose to be condescending, and I don't have to tolerate that. Joy laughed sharply. You talk about supporting women, about lifting each other up, but the second someone doesn't worship you, you throw them out. Real supportive, Kelly. Supporting women doesn't mean letting them walk all over me, Kelly shot back. It doesn't mean I have to smile and nod while you tear me down. You preach tolerance, Joy, but only when people agree with you. Joy took a step closer, her voice rising again. I came here to have a real conversation, Kelly, something with substance. But you can't handle that. You can't handle anyone disrupting your perfect little world. That's not true, Kelly said through gritted teeth. I talk about hard things, depression, divorce, loss, but I also believe there's power in hope. If that makes me shallow to you, then we just disagree. What matters, Joy countered, is honesty. Not hiding behind platitudes about kindness when there are real issues to face. You have millions of viewers and you waste it on fluff. My show isn't fluff, Kelly snapped. The people who watch me, who tell me I've helped them through dark days, they don't think it's a waste. And honestly, Joy, I don't care what you think. You never take risks, Joy said. You never say anything that costs you something. I take risks every day, Kelly countered. I risk being vulnerable, being judged, being criticized. Just because I'm not yelling about politics doesn't mean I'm not taking risks. Joy's tone turned mocking. Vulnerability is a brand now, Kelly. Everyone's doing it. It means nothing unless you stand for something. I stand for treating people with decency, Kelly said fiercely. For not assuming the worst about others, for disagreeing without cruelty. But apparently, that's not enough for you. Oh, spare me the sanctimonious speech, Joy shot back. You're not a beacon of decency, you're a product. Everything you do is calculated to protect your brand. Kelly's voice dropped low. You don't know anything about me. You come in here with your judgments and act like that makes you better. It doesn't. It just makes you mean. Mean? Joy repeated with a bitter laugh. I'm mean because I'm telling you the truth. You're mean because you think your truth is the only truth, Kelly said. You came here to attack me, not talk to me. Joy threw her hands up. Fine, let's talk. Tell me what you actually believe. Not kindness or positivity, something real. Kelly paused, breathing hard. I believe people are doing the best they can. I believe shaming them doesn't help. I believe there's more than one way to make a difference. And I believe compassion changes more hearts than anger ever will. Joy smiled bitterly. Exactly what I thought. A whole lot of nothing dressed up as wisdom. Kelly's patience snapped. I tried, Joy. I tried to have a respectful conversation. But you're not interested in that. You just want to prove you're smarter. Well, congratulations. I'm done with this conversation. And I'm done with you. So that's it, Joy said, grabbing her purse. You're shutting me down because I challenged you? I'm ending this, Kelly said, voice trembling but firm. Because this stopped being a conversation a long time ago. It became an attack, and I don't owe you my stage for that. Joy's voice was icy. When people see this, when they see how you react to pushback, they'll know exactly who you are. Good, Kelly said without missing a beat. I hope they see someone who stands her ground. Joy turned to leave, then stopped. You'll regret this. The only thing I regret, Kelly said quietly, is inviting you here. The two women stood locked in silence, eyes burning, the audience utterly still. Finally, Joy walked off the stage, her heels clicking against the floor, leaving Kelly standing there, flushed, furious, and unshaken. For a long moment, no one moved. Then, slowly, the audience began to applaud, hesitant at first, then growing louder. Kelly forced a small smile, but anyone watching could tell she was shaken. When the cameras finally cut, producers swarmed the stage, trying to diffuse the tension. But the damage was done. Within hours, clips of the confrontation began circulating online. The internet was divided, half siding with Kelly for standing up for herself, half appraising Joy for calling out what they saw as superficial positivity. One thing was certain, this wasn't just another daytime spat. It was a clash of values, of philosophies about what it means to use a platform, to speak up, and to care. For Kelly, it was about empathy and hope. For Joy, it was about truth and accountability. And somewhere between those two ideals, something beautiful and civil completely broke down. No one expected it to go that far. No one expected it to feel that real. But maybe that's what happens when two women, both unafraid to speak their minds, collide on live television. The masks drop, the tension rises, and the truth, messy, uncomfortable, human truth, takes center stage.